Adding the Insomniac Advanced suit to Marvel Rivals is the only way Insomniac's Peter Parker Spider-Man will be able to be the main character that has powers after his first game. I'll keep this one short, but you heard the news. The Insomniac Spider-Man suit has been announced for Marvel Rivals much sooner than I would have thought, and it's given me flashbacks to various thoughts and criticisms of mine. Is adding the suit from an overrated Spider-Man a bad thing? No. The more suits the better. It's definitely a solid suit that isn't horrible to be adding and to have take up a suit slot, unlike the many other trash Insomniac suits that I'm sure are suits that are used less than 2% of the time, especially with the second game where they removed a bunch of great skins from the first game, only to have such well-received retro skins that people totally loved. But anyway, I just think that the Insomniac Advanced suit is still overrated, and I think that white logo is something they did out of desperation to just yell, "Hey, look at us, we're different," as opposed to other movie or gaming suits that don't mess with the colors or patterns as heavily, for the most part, while still having something that could be called different from the standard suit, just in more subtle ways, such as the default rival Spider-Man suit. And don't even get me started on how much better his face looks under the mask. It's not even close. Not saying that the Insomniac suit is horrendous or anything, as that would be a gross exaggeration, and I'm not that kind of YouTuber with the most petty subjective complaints that no regular person really thinks about, as I've never really heard anyone in person call the Web of Shadows suit ugly, or even on the internet predating a video that some bots copied because they don't own the game. But anyway, it is pissing me off how NetEase let PlayStation make an actual fairly solid Spider-Man skin be a PlayStation exclusive, instead of making the Insomniac Spider-Man suit the PlayStation exclusive, especially since they added the suit less than 2 months after launch. A Spider-Man skin from a game series that was once exclusive to PlayStation would have been less jarring than a suit that was once on an Xbox 360. But I guess PlayStation was forced to settle with a skin, unlike the BS they pulled for that Avengers game that hurt that game even more than they already hurt themselves. But anyway, the gameplay observations will be hilarious to see play out. From a core gameplay perspective, the Insomniac games are the most brain-dead, handed-to-you experience seen in a superhero video game that wasn't a full-on kids game, despite the generous 7 out of 10 score I gave that game, as I can see a casual gamer still having some fun with it despite its cheese combat and easy mode swing itself traversal that I won't repeat all the details of, as I've delved into it before many times with my Spider-Man PS4 review and my beautiful Marvel Rivals video I made 7 months before the release date of Marvel Rivals that showed I was ahead of the curve with Rivals doing extremely well, on top of being a far more skilled experience than the Insomniac games, unlike past Spider-Man games that aren't as laughably far behind in their difficulty and skill ceiling in their swinging mechanics. That original Rivals vs Insomniac video is getting a long video essay sequel that I've been fine-tuning for a month now that the game is released, and I played it well enough to get to Grandmaster in the first season, unlike these stands likely. But my main point I'm getting at is that there's no way someone who religiously defends Insomniac and their objective faults would be good at playing Spider-Man in Rivals, who is also the hardest playable version of Spider-Man due to the multiplayer PvP nature of that game, especially when you're up against good opponents. Hell, he's called the hardest character in that game as the only 5-star, not counting Psylocke, that nobody agrees should be called 5 stars. Even people who are above the dumb noob Insomniac stands and aren't bad at video games may still have trouble playing rival Spider-Man. I would guess that only 10 or 5% of Spider-Man and the game's overall player base can play Spider-Man effectively in decent lobbies, and I know dang well the hardcore studio defending Insomniac stands are far less likely to be good or even moderate at the character, as they'll likely rage quit the game or switch to someone newbie like Moon Knight who only aims at the ground most of the time. Or they'll tier whore with unhealthy characters like Hela and others like Hawkeye, if they are on PC especially. When this drops, will likely, unfortunately, be met with even more bad, ineffective Spider-Man players due to some of the Insomniac noobs who will get the skin and play him just to use the costume, only to have an experience that I perfectly mimicked in my first Marvel Rivals video.
Oh, what the F? Why isn't the swinging in wall running and playing it safe? Why isn't the game telling me if it's safe to jump on them, or why can't I just use Web Blasting right away? Where's my suspension matrix? Instant kills. Fuck this game.
Those ugly stands should stick to the games where the women they can't pull aren't practically ugly, unlike Rivals. But anyway, I swear I've noticed that the PS5 players are not just worse than the PC players, but are also worse than the Xbox players on average, as I find the Spider-Man with the PS5 exclusive Scarlet Spider skin usually don't pop off as much as any other skin user, including the default. I've noticed that most good Spider-Man use the Bagman skin or the No Way Home skin. There's no way I can make that into a statistic, as this can be called speculation, but I swear it's likely the case, as Sony somewhat objectively hasn't had as much multiplayer PvP success or attempt as Xbox has had with games like Halo Infinite versus Concord, which is the biggest flop in gaming just about. But anyway, that's about it for this video that I had to resist going on full-blown tangents on. I don't think this skin will even come to Xbox either, but even if it does, I'll likely not even get it, as I don't want to wear the colors of the brain-dead Sped Stan fandom, regardless of it not being a bad suit. But anyway, I suggest checking out the videos in the end screen and description, as they expand upon what was said here. Like the Raimi suit that we'll hopefully get, especially if Insomniac can get a skin less than 2 months into the game. Hell, even other movie suits like The Amazing Spider-Man would also be welcomed, along with a bunch of others me and the Healthy Man mentioned in this video. But anyway, tell us what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.